let us understand the concept of revenue. Right? Now, revenue is basically the money which is derived by a company or a firm by selling certain commodities. Okay? Now, there is a concept of different types of revenue, right? So, when I say different type of revenue, what it means is, if I'm selling 1 unit of commodity and I get 100 for it, right? My revenue will be 100. If I sell 2 and I get 180 out of it. Now, if I see per unit of commodity, my price is 90, right? All these prices are known as total revenue, average revenue, and marginal revenue, right? Let us understand them. So what is revenue? First, let's understand what is revenue. Revenue is the money received from the sale of commodity. If there is a company which sells 1 unit of, let's say, 1 toy at 100 rupees, right? For them, the revenue is 100. Why? Because that's the money they receive from the sale of commodity, right? If they sell 2 toy, like I gave you an example, for 180 rupees, the revenue for them is the money received from the sale of commodity, which is 180, right? So as an example, if there is a sale of 10 tables at a price of rupees 100 per table, how much revenue do you get? You get revenue per table, which is 100, multiplied by the number of tables, which is 10, which gives you an answer of 1000. So 1000 is the revenue of the company which you are looking at. Now, when we talk about revenue, it is divided into 3 types. The first is called the total revenue, right? Now, while I will get into the details for this, let me just explain this to you briefly. When in my earlier example, there was sale of 10 tables, which resulted in a revenue of 1000, the total money that was received is referred to as total revenue, right? The second is average revenue. Now, average revenue, what it means is when you have a total revenue, right, which you derive from sale of a particular number of commodity, if you have to calculate the price or the revenue which you derive per unit of commodity sold, that per unit price is known as the average revenue. It is just like, in your examination, you get 80 in one subject, you get 90 in the other, you get 100 in the third one, right? You get 95 in the fourth one, and you get 85 in the last one, right? When you do a total of this, what do you get? You get 550. You get 450. So 450 is the total marks that you get. Similar to this is your total revenue, right? But if someone asks you what is the average percentage you have got, what do? You divide this total revenue by the number of subjects. So here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 subjects, right? And you're going to tell them, I have got 90%. That 90% is the average percentage. Similarly, average revenue is nothing but the total revenue divided by the number of units sold. And then it is marginal revenue. Now suppose from 10 tables you get 1000. If you sell 11 tables and what you receive is 1080, what is the increase in the revenue when one additional table was sold? It is 1080 less 1000, which is rupees 80. This is known as the marginal revenue, or increase in the revenue obtained by selling one additional unit of commodity, right? Let's understand all of them in detail. The first one is total revenue. So the definition of total revenue is that total revenue is the total proceeds derived by a firm from sale of a commodity. You may sell 3 different commodities at different prices. You may sell one at 60, the other one at 70, the third one at 80. The individual price do not matter, right? When we talk about total revenue, what we say is, what is the total income of the firm? In this example, it is 210, right? So the total revenue is the total proceeds derived by a firm from the sale of commodity. It is calculated by multiplying price per unit into quantity sold. Now, this definition is applicable when the price or commodity is homogeneous, which means that for a particular commodity, the price is equal. So in all these 3, if the price were 70, 70, 70, in that case, you can say that the price per unit is how much? 70. How much quantity you are selling? 3. So what is the total revenue? You need to calculate the total revenue by multiplying these 2, which is 210. But when the commodities are sold at different prices, which is a practicality in real life, then you need to calculate the sum of all these to get the total revenue. It may not be particularly applicable to just straight away apply this formula. So total revenue is equal to P times Q, where P refers to price per unit, Q refers to the quantity sold. Example, if a firm sells 10 tables at a price of rupees 50 per table, the total revenue will be equal to 10 times 50 or 500. Right? Okay, let's look at average revenue. Average revenue is the revenue per unit of commodity sold. In the previous example, we said if we are selling a goods at rupees 70, 3 units, right? The total revenue that we got was 210, right? Suppose this number was not given to you and you were told we've got a total revenue of 210 by selling 3 units of commodity. What is the average revenue? Then average revenue is the price which is realized, the revenue which is realized per unit of commodity sold, right? So how do you calculate how much is the price per unit of this commodity? Obviously, you are going to divide the total revenue by the number of units sold. And that is what the legal formula is. It is calculated by dividing the total revenue with the number of units sold, right? So in this example, if the total revenue is 210, the number of units sold is 3, the price will be equal to 70 rupees per commodity. And this price is nothing but the average revenue that we are talking about over here. An example, the total revenue of a firm from sales of 10 tables is 1000. Compute average revenue. Your total revenue is given to you as 1000. The number of units is 10, right? So how much will be the average revenue? It will be equal to the total revenue divided by the number of units sold, which is 1000 divided by 10 or 100, right? Now, marginal revenue is the net addition to the total revenue by selling 1 more unit of output, right? So if in the previous example, I'm selling 3 units of commodity, right? And I get 210 as the total revenue. What will be the revenue if suppose I sell 4 units? If I sell 4 units and the revenue is 270, right? What is the net addition to the total revenue? The net addition to the total revenue is obviously 270 minus 210 is equal to 60. And this revenue has been obtained by selling 1 more unit of output, 3, right? So this 60 rupees is basically referred to as the marginal revenue. So marginal revenue is the total revenue from the sale of X plus 1 unit minus the total revenue from sale of X unit. So if the X unit originally were 3 the total revenue from X plus 1 will be from 4 units. Right? Example. So total revenue by selling 5 toys is equal to 750. Total revenue by selling 5 plus 1, 6 toys is 850. So what is the marginal revenue? It is equal to rupees 850 minus 750 or rupees 100.